Oh.
We brought.
Alrighty. We'll go to there. Hey, Matty.
Hey, how are you?
I'm fine. I'm Glenn Crooks. There's Matty Lawrence, and we're getting set for New York City FC with another road trip. And happy to report, well, we're very happy to report that there is no bad weather in the forecast. So we're breaking a 2-game streak of weather delays by blue skies at Children's Mercy Park and Sporting KC playing host to New York City FC. So the thing I would say at the top here, Matty, and then we'll get into this miracle victory from the other night, is you can't call this a rivalry. They haven't played for 22 years. Well, it's since 2022. They haven't played in Kansas City since 2018. There was one player from each team on the current roster that played in that game. Daniel Shallowy for Sporting KC and Maximo Morales for New York City FC. So obviously there's going to be a lot of turnover, but it's interesting how the scheduling has worked out as they rarely meet. This is only the 7th all-time meeting. It's the 11th year of New York City.
And look, Children's Mercy Park is a wonderful place to play football as well, to play soccer. It's a soccer town, of course, along with American football as well. But it's also strange that there's no Peter Vermees at the helm. Let's be honest, Glenn. The longest serving manager by a long way until very recently. So there's 2 brand new managers at the helms. Kerry Zavagnin, obviously, who was Peter's longtime assistant. He has taken over at the helm. So yes, we've got 2 new managers and really quite a new fixture, as you say, as well. Certainly in terms of it hasn't happened a great deal in recent years. And also, the one word we can certainly use for both teams is inconsistent. These 2 teams are incredibly inconsistent. You only need to look at SKC had a 7-game stretch between March the 10th and I think it was about May the 10th, where they won, lost, won, lost, won, lost, won. And NYCFC, their last 5 games.
I don't know how you sleep. I don't know how you sleep on the coaching team, especially the head coach.
NYCFC's last 5 games have been won, lost, won, lost, won. So yes, there's a big problem with both of these teams. Neither of them are particularly good in terms of being able to put a consistent run together, Glenn. So I'm looking forward to this. This could be a dire game of football in terms of quality, but it could be beautifully entertaining in terms of just a spectacle, an entertainment spectacle.
I'm looking at Kerry Zavagnin, who's the interim head coach. You talk about a servant to a franchise. Yeah. He's been there 26 years as a player and as an assistant coach, and now the interim manager. And his record: 6 wins, 6 losses, 4 draws. New York City is slightly advanced of that, and therefore they're a little bit more advanced in the standings. Although in the East Conference, you're in the 7th position, and I wrote you a note. I think it was either earlier today or yesterday. In the West, like teams from 7 through the bottom of the table are all under 500. They've all won fewer games than they've lost.
Yeah, they're bad
and then
teams.
3 of those teams are going to the playoffs.
Yeah, and they're very bad teams. And I think I wrote back to you, no team should be allowed in the playoffs unless they have won more games than they've lost and unless they have a positive goal difference. Otherwise, no team deserves to be in any playoffs anywhere if they've lost more games than they've won. That's ridiculous. The whole idea of the playoffs is to have good teams in them, not bad teams. But yes, look, the West has got some very good teams at the top. I'm thinking of an LAFC, a Seattle, a San Diego, but there's some absolute dross as well. The lower you come down the league, that's for sure.
All right, so 3 wins, 2 losses, and a draw. That's New York City's record against Sporting KC in this series, which is really insignificant because it's entirely different teams. It's a different era for both these sides. And Sporting KC, interesting. I mean, forever, they were consistently a playoff team. They won MLS Cup a few years back. They won the U.S. Open Cup. And like you said, Peter Vermees, at the time when he was sacked, he was the longest serving manager in a Major League Soccer. and a legendary figure in Kansas City and in MLS, and he'll be back in work at some point. And it's Pascal Janssen. He's in charge of New York City FC. So he had this game last week where New York City, they didn't get their first shot on goal until the 53rd minute. And it was Julian Fernandez, as we used to say sarcastically to our players. It was a back pass to the keeper.
Yes.
And he made a real comfortable save. But then you had this somewhat miraculous, unbelievable finish to the game. It started with an own goal by Kyle Smith. It ended with Alonso Martinez scoring in the 91st minute after he had missed a sitter and he had been slumping, or really bereft of not chances, but actual finishes. And so this Martinez goal. So, Matty, I'm going to play this goal without any sound so that you have a chance to maybe describe exactly what happened. But we can say Sporting KC had a short corner, and then they ended up with something that looked like this, where Alex Freeman played the ball across.
Well, it's absolutely brilliant, isn't it, from Fernandez? And you see the Orlando City players as well. They're chasing down Fernandez like police trailing a Ford Bronco in 1994 at great distance. What we have to say here is we cannot forget, yes, this play is magnificent. Yes, it's a great counterattack. I think the pivotal point is that Martinez missed an absolute sitter. We cannot forget that Martinez missed a goal that he would have taken, or according to XG, 84, 85 times out of 100 he'd have scored. We see it again here.
How about Fernandez taking it down on the chest and getting out of the area?
It's how coolly he takes it down and then takes a number of strides forward. It's a goal that obviously goes over 100 yards because he picks it up inside his own area. This finish here, it's so cool and calm, and he waits for Gillespie to spread himself, and then he just slides it through his legs.
Well, he did say in his press conference, I asked him specifically, I say, do you get extra satisfaction when you nutmeg the keeper, when you put it between his legs, when you put it in the 5-hole? And he responded in Spanish, Esteban Camino, in our communications department. He translated and said that he didn't really mean to put it between his legs. He just wanted to put it on goal. And so it was not as purposeful as you described it. You gave him a little bit more credit. He admittedly, he said, but I want to go back to our live commentary. And now let's listen to Matty Lawrence again. He might repeat a couple of things he just said, but this is the glory of listening to the games on the radio and your hometown commentary. And not just because it's hometown, but my man Matty Lawrence here, as I used to call him, or not used to, still call him, the great Matty Lawrence. But this is after the goal was scored.
What a counter-attack this is. Swift, incisive and clinical from Alonso Martinez. He missed a sitter about 10-20 minutes ago, but this one, he's got so much time to think about it as well. Gillespie comes out and spreads himself, and all Martinez does is just slots it through his legs as he spreads himself. It's a terrific finish from Martinez, especially off the back of that dreadful miss, Glenn. Give Pascal Janssen credit for leaving him in the game.
Absolutely.
And give even more credit to Martinez for finishing that off. This is a smash and grab, Glenn.
So, about leaving Alonso Martinez in. All right. So Pascal Janssen on our pregame briefing, the pregame show. You'll hear the entire interview coming up at 8:15 Eastern on our live commentary, which begins with the pregame show presented by Ford, featuring Pascal Janssen. But here's what he had to say about Alonso Martinez and a little bit of why he left him in.
I just want to go into your thinking as to the moments where you're wondering whether to keep him in the match, possibly remove him because it's just not his night, and obviously it worked out pretty well.
Yeah, it did, but that's because we always have the belief that once Alonso is on the pitch, he will get his moment, and he's a good goal scorer. That's something we know. Even when he's struggling, even when the team is having a tough night, you know that he is a player that can give you that moment. And we were pretty confident that that moment would still come, and so it did. I can imagine you guys wondering, once we start to bring in other strikers, that he might be the guy that has to come off. But once Munsef came on, Alonso moved to the right wing. That was the first one. And when Seymour came on, we just knew that we had to keep him on. And we got that moment. And that's what it's all about. And as I said, we were not we were still very confident throughout the game that we would get this moment, and that's the only reason why we keep Alonso on pitch.
Well, there you have it. And let's just set it up a little bit. So first we see Monsef Bakrar with the fourth official, and we're contemplating whether he's going to come in for Alonso Martinez. No, he came in for Maxi Morales. Then it's Seymour Reed who comes to the fourth official, and it's like, well, is it now his time? No, he comes in for Hannes Wolf, who apparently had a little bit of a knock that he got in the game. Wolf is not in the squad today, and it's due to injury. And if you saw the injured list, he is out of this one. Injured. We do not know the extent of it. The club made it sound as if it's not anything serious. It's just going to keep him out of this game. But now it's 3 forwards. And then Alonso Martinez, that's rewarding your coach's faith. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it is. He could easily have bought him off Pascal Janssen, but you do think it would have been, and we talked about it in commentary, it would have been slightly strange because you need a goal. So why not leave on your, at the time, second leading goal scorer? Now he's the joint leading goal scorer. Why would you not leave him on? And also after that miss, Glenn, as well, you would just you would buckle his confidence so much if you bought him off, because that goal he missed, well, the chance he missed was an absolute sitter. It was classed as 84% or XG of 0.84. I think it should have been XG of 0.95. I think Martinez would have scored that 95, if not 96, 97, 98 times out of 100. It was a sitter. It was too easy. He took his eye off the ball and the ball hits his heel and then goes. It doesn't just hit the post. It scrapes the outside of the post. He was 4 or 5 yards out and he missed by a considerable margin.
What was interesting is, 84%, expected goal of 0.84, according to FOTMob or Opta. And on his game-winning goal, the expected goal was 0.13. I mean, you had a goalkeeper you had to deal with there. The other one, the keeper was out of the area. I mean, it was just a tap-in, man.
Yeah, it was
just a tap-in.
And we talked about it in-game. What hurt could have been caused to Martinez if it had been brought off. But also, if you're Pascal Janssen, you see, we have to credit Janssen with leaving Martinez on, because he had looked so low, and he's looked so low in confidence recently as well. Right. Not just in front of goal, but his all-round game. I don't think he's worked as hard off the ball as people like Julian Fernandez, certainly not as Hannes Wolf. He's looked troubled in front of goal as well. He scored for Costa Rica. You talked about this as well in the last game. He scored against Costa Rica, but then came back lacking confidence, which seems strange, because not only did he score for Costa Rica, he then scored in the penalty shootout against the great Matt Freese as well. So you'd have thought he'd have come back absolutely oozing, but almost it was the polar opposite. He looked poor against Orlando, but ultimately you have to credit the young man for keeping his cool, keeping his calm and his composure and nerves of steel. He had so much time to think about that opportunity.
Well, that was the thing. He had about 40 yards at least to contemplate how he was going, except for Seymour Reed in an offside position. If he had played it to Seymour Reed, it would have been offside, no goal. And here's Pascal Janssen after the game, immediately after the game, in his presser about Alonso.
I love working with him. He's a great team player, a very happy spirit in the dressing room as well. He's going through a tough time at the moment. Sometimes he looks a little tired from all the games he's playing. He's a number 9. He lives off his goals. And like you saw today, he missed a huge opportunity. But we kept him in the game. And I told the guys in the dressing room just now as well, as long as we have his back, he'll be okay and get back to his normal level. And today he got that goal, which gave us the win in the end.
I like the fact, so I wanted to play that because he added that he said it in front of the entire team, which is very interesting. And maybe this gives you a little insight as to of Pascal's success with his teams, that these are not uncomfortable things to say in front of the group. Sometimes that makes it seem like maybe you're putting somebody on a pedestal. But that's not the case at all.
No, it's not at all. I think he's got the belief of all the players, Pascal. I think all the players have absolutely... It doesn't always show itself in game, but certainly being around the squad, not talking to the players about Pascal, but you just see it in their eyes. You see it in the confidence they have at times. And and he's just such a calm guy, Pascal. He talked about it when everybody else was going absolutely apoplectic down there on the sidelines. Everybody's pulling party poppers. They'd won the World Cup not only once but twice in the last 2 days. It felt like, and why not celebrate? I've got no problem with people showing emotion like that. But Pascal was too busy pulling players around, telling them where to go.
Exactly. You could see there was perfect pictures of it.
Yeah, whereas everyone else is high five. And I love that, the composure that he's got. And as I say, I truly believe, and I'm not just saying this with my NYCFC hat on, I truly believe that every single one of the squad, it certainly feels like that, has bought into what he's trying to sell, Pascal. Look, there's going to be the odd one or two who are a little bit upset to not be in the starting lineup. We don't expect that. But I don't think that means even those players have lost confidence in what Pascal is selling, teaching them, asking them to do on the field. I get a great feel from Pascal Janssen. I really do.
Now, speaking of the possibility of a player that maybe wasn't particularly comfortable with the decision by Pascal Janssen, Micha Ilinic was the man of the match with a goal and an assist in a 3-1 win over Toronto. Then he sat the next match, which you could look at and say, yeah, this makes sense because it was Zaha attacking on the left side of the field for Charlotte. So Tavon Gray got the start. He's a better defender than Ilinic. And then in the subsequent match at Orlando, Ilinic was with the team, but he was not in the squad. And this is what Pascal Janssen said after the match about that decision to leave Ilinic off the team.
We brought some extra guys on the roster because we're going to travel tomorrow. We travel to Kansas already in order to prepare for that game on Saturday. So we're not having guys flying in to join the team extra. And Micha is a guy who has some things on his mind at the moment which keep him quite occupied. And I just want to have guys on the roster that are fully committed to what we are trying to achieve at the moment. So that's why he wasn't part of the roster today.
All right, so that's certainly something that provides a little mystery to the situation. So now you start trying to sort out what might be the possibility. There was a story from a very, very, I don't want to say unreliable source because that's not fair. It's just a source I'm not familiar with that said that Ilinic might be pursuing something in Europe or that somebody was pursuing him. I didn't read much into that. He's in the squad today. If you look at the starting lineup being scrolled in your lower third here, if you're watching this with us, it's Ilinic on the bench with several others. So he's back in the squad. So we're not, I don't know if we'll ever find out. Maybe it's not our business really what went on, but Ilinic is not only available. So I asked him about it in the pregame show, which you'll hear. And I just simply asked, is he available? And he said, well, he was available in the Orlando game. And then now he's available and now he's on a bench.
It's absolutely none of our business. This is between Ilinic, the manager, and Ilinic and the ownership group, whatever it is. What we do know is that the player, any player, I'm not talking about Ilinic, any footballer is going to be very annoyed when they score a goal, they're man of the match, your team wins, and then you get dropped.
Yeah.
He got dropped. He wasn't rested. He got dropped. I do understand it because, yes, we know Tavon Gray would be a better bet up against a decent Wilfried Zaha. It just doesn't feel very good when Wilfried Zaha doesn't turn up, and Tavon Gray absolutely wasn't needed because Zaha was so bad. And Ilinic, and I said this previously, Akon could have defended Wilfried Zaha in that game because he offered so little. So Ilinic would probably have been a little upset about that. And then you also know he's a 20-year-old player, so he's still quite young in his career, but he's at an age where he wants to be playing as much football as he can.
Yeah.
He's got national team wants and desires. He's got the World Cup coming up next year. Slovenia aren't in it yet, but you know, the qualifying is still going on.
The U21s,
so, U21s. Well, I'm talking about the full World Cup as well.
Oh, right. Well, sure.
That's going on too.
No, you're right. I'm not considering him for that aspect. It's the U21 Euros. So forgive me. Yeah.
So he's having those thoughts. And the only way you can get in those teams, whether it's under 21s or the full national team, is you've got to be playing football, Glenn. It doesn't matter who you are, unless you're a Ronaldo or Messi and you've been injured for a couple of months, then you may go and walk into your national team, but that's it. So obviously we don't know what happened, but there's no way in the world that Ilinic wasn't unhappy. And maybe if he announced his unhappiness in the wrong way and was a little unhappy and showed it in training, maybe, again, this is mere speculation, but I was a professional footballer for 16, 17 years. I've got license to be able to give my own opinion, and I'm pretty sure that the kind of things that would have gone on behind the scene. Is it our business? No, but I can talk about it.
Yeah.
You just have to feel sorry for any player that plays as well as he did, scores, and then isn't in the team. But also, and I'll sit on the fence, you understand why Pascal chooses his best one-on-one defender against Wilfried Zaha,
right.
Ex-Premier League player, absolutely phenomenal player on his
it's
day.
A massive consideration.
Yes,
you really have to
and
take
it happened
that.
before,
and
right?
that's going to be explained.
Yeah.
And even if it's explained to you, you're still maybe
You're
distraught
unhappy.
because of what happened. So we could say that's possibly Ilinic's best match as a member of the club too.
Yes.
You know, that's the thing.
It was, but it happened earlier in the season against LAFC when it was Boanga. I think Ilinic had started the game before LAFC. I think, if I can remember properly, and then Tavon Gray came in and marked Boanga.
Yeah,
because Ilinic is not as good a defender. But
well,
Ilinic
as he continues to improve in that manner, then you don't have to get pulled from the 11 because maybe you're not as good a defender. Now, another player who's not on the bench, and this is something to look at a little bit more closely, maybe, is Monsef Bakrar. Now, there was also this story. So this came from Blue Balls NYCFC, but they picked it up from that is their handle, and they've been around since the first kick. And there was a Croatian publication. That's what the Sportski Novosti is reporting, that Bakrar may be heading for Dinamo Zagreb, the Croatian giants, as it's put here, and indeed they are. But again, this is a report. This publication is fairly well known, so maybe a little bit more reputable than the one I saw regarding Ilinic. But anyway, Bakrar is not in the squad, but as Pascal has mentioned twice now, he traveled with more bodies than he needed because they stayed on the road, going from where were they? From Orlando to Kansas City. From Orlando to Kansas City, and flying back the next day after the game, which normally they'll will fly with them right after matches to get back home. So I'm Glenn. This is Matty, and we're getting ready for our commentary. This is NYCFC Pregame Live, an hour before kickoff. Before every game, we give you this presentation. And what else do I have to share with you? There were a couple of other things. Raul, talk about another rumor. Raul Gustavo. Now, who's he? Well, he played for Pascal Janssen at Ferencváros in Hungary. And the reason his name has emerged, he's a left-footed central defender. Berk Riise just left. He is back in Norway with Molde, a left-footed central defender. We've seen him in other spots as well. So this is a report coming from a Hungarian publication that they even have a potential transfer fee of $1.16 million US. And again, so that's possibly on the table. And sometime before the next game, the FC Dallas game next Friday, I'll ask Pascal about that one. Matt Freeze, I also put this all-star snub, and then I wrote, these are my words, who cares? With a lot of exclamation points. Now, and then parenthetically, I said, I only care if he has a good bonus clause in his contract. Otherwise, who cares? And here's one interesting for you, Matty. This is the guy he is apparently competing for time with the U.S. men's national team. Who's going to be the number one? You said Zach Steffen. Who else said Zach Steffen recently?
I said
that I asked?
I think that Zach Steffen is the best equipped
to
be
all right,
the
I'm sorry. Yeah, you could. Yes. Yeah. So you feel Zach Steffen will be the number one. Phil Wedden, the Philadelphia Union goalkeeper coach who I had on my Sirius XM show. He again, all things being equal, he thinks it should be Steffen. Well, here's Steffen against with Colorado against Seattle.
Big moment there by Awazim to play that back. Kalani Kosa Rienzi is back into the picture after having to sit out the last game due to suspension. And it's stepping out of goal. And that one is finished by Rusnak. He almost scored a moment ago. And
so I just thought, anytime there's a mishap, it's in the favor of Matt Freeze and his competitors. And mostly
more than a mishap as well.
And it's really his first touch got away from him, and that's kind of what caused him to go towards the sideline. So you have to play with your feet a little bit more comfortably in the system that they're trying to create. And so there you go. There you go. There's Steph. I wanted to show that as well. So let's see what else I have here. Snoop Dogg is the co-owner of Swansea City. And George Campbell of CF Montreal is going to the championship.
Yes, he is going to West Brom.
Going to West Brom. Then I have a note here. Why you don't schedule midseason friendlies. Minnesota United announced today that midfielder Hwang Jung suffered a torn ACL. He's an important reserve figure up top. And it was during the international friendly against Holstein Kiel at Allianz Field on Monday, July 7th.
John Tolkien's team.
That is I don't know this, but if Tolkien took him out, that's even worse. But Jung will miss the remainder of the season, and it's an ACL. He's out at 9 months at least. And for international friendly mid-season, what a well, I'll just leave it at that. You can come to your own conclusion. I'm just going to say, I don't get it, man. It's just like this MLS All-Star team. I don't say very much about the All-Star game because I don't like it.
Because it's a waste of time?
I just don't like it. I look at everything from a sporting standpoint. If I'm a coach, how about Miami? What is it? Messi and Suarez are going. Yeah. Just what they need to go play the All-Star game. I mean, come on. World Cup ticketing program launches this September, Matty. You want to get involved with that, man. It's going to be released in phases. The first draw application window opens September the 10th, Wednesday. So put that in your calendar because everybody in the world, I'm sure they ask you, they ask me because they think we have connections to World Cup tickets. We don't. And I wish we did. And that's all I got.
That's it.
Anything else?
No, that's a wrap.
That's a wrap. It is a wrap. I'm Glenn Crooks. That's Matty Lawrence. Chris Tsakonas will be with us too as we present New York City FC at Sporting KC here on a Saturday night, one of 14 games in Major League Soccer. You'll hear it on the New York City FC network, nycfc.com/radio. I fully expect you to sync our radio coverage on digital along with the video that Apple TV presents. And then you can hear your hometown guys. Hopefully you'll do that. If you don't, it's okay too. Hope you enjoyed this. Glad that you joined us here and enjoy the game, everybody.